My mom sold my car and demanded I pay for my sister's college, then kicked me out when I refused. I left something behind that changed everything. And now, they're begging for help. I'm 24, been working in IT support since I graduated community college 2 years ago. Nothing fancy, but I make decent money, around $45,000 a year, which isn't bad for someone my age in a smaller city. I've always been the responsible one in my family. While my younger sister Katie was partying through high school and barely scraping by with C's, I was working part-time jobs and saving every penny. My pride and joy was my 2019 Honda Civic. I'd saved for 2 years to buy it outright, no payments, completely mine. I know it's not a Ferrari or anything, but that car represented everything I'd worked for. Independence, responsibility, proof that I could make it on my own. My mom, Debbie, has always had this thing about fairness. But her version of fair usually meant I had to sacrifice so Katie could have what she wanted. Katie's the baby, the creative one, the one who just needs more support to find her way. I love my sister, don't get me wrong, but watching her get bailed out of every consequence while I had to earn everything got old real quick. My dad passed away when I was 16, and mom never remarried. She works as a nurse, makes decent money, but she's always been terrible with finances. Every month was a crisis, every unexpected expense was a catastrophe. Meanwhile, I watched her drop $200 on Katie's art supplies without blinking. Last March, Katie got accepted to State University for their art program. Tuition was $18,000 a year, plus room and board. Mom was over the moon, talking about how this was Katie's big chance and how we were all going to make it work. Katie was supposed to start in the fall, giving us about 6 months to figure out the money. Here's where it gets interesting. I'd been living at home to save money while I built up my emergency fund. I was actually planning to move out that summer, had my eye on a nice 1-bedroom apartment across town. I'd saved up $12,000 and was feeling pretty good about my future. Then Mom called a family meeting. "We need to talk about Katie's college," she said, settling into her favorite chair with that look she gets when she's about to ask for something big. "The financial aid isn't covering everything, and we're short about $15,000 for the first year." I could see where this was going. "Mom, I can maybe help with a few hundred here and there, but..." "Actually," she interrupted, "I've been thinking. You don't really need that car, living so close to work. And Katie needs this opportunity." My stomach dropped. "What are you talking about?" "If we sell your Honda, that'll cover most of what we need. And you've got that savings account. Between the two, Katie's first year is paid for." I stared at her. "You want me to sell my car and give you my entire savings so Katie can go to art school?" "It's not giving, it's investing in family. Katie's going to be successful, and she'll pay you back." Katie, who'd been quiet this whole time, finally spoke up. "I mean, I'll totally pay you back once I'm established. Art majors make good money once they get going." I almost laughed. "Almost. Mom, that car is mine. I bought it with my own money. And my savings, that's for my apartment, my future." "Your future?" Mom's voice got that edge it gets when she's about to go nuclear. "What about Katie's future? What about family supporting family? What about me supporting me?" I shot back. "I've been helping out around here for years. I pay rent, I buy groceries, I fixed the water heater last month. When do I get to live my own life?" That's when Mom dropped the bomb. "If you're not willing to help family when it matters, maybe you shouldn't be living in this house." The room went dead silent. Katie looked uncomfortable but didn't say anything. Classic Katie, let Mom fight her battles. "Are you seriously threatening to kick me out because I won't give up everything I've worked for?" "I'm saying that adults who live in my house contribute to the family's success. If you can't do that, maybe it's time you found your own place." Here's the thing about my mom, she doesn't make idle threats. I could see in her eyes that she was serious. Part of me wanted to call her bluff, but I'd seen her cut off relatives for less. "Fine," I said. "But I'm keeping my car and my savings." "We'll see about that." I should have known she wasn't done. 2 weeks later, I came home from work to find my car gone. Just gone. I stood in the driveway for a full minute, thinking maybe I was losing it. I called Mom immediately. "Where's my car?" "I sold it," she said, calm as anything. "Got $16,000 for it. That'll cover Katie's first year perfectly." I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. "You sold my car? How is that even legal?" "It was parked on my property. Abandoned vehicle laws are pretty clear." "Abandoned? I drove it to work yesterday." "You've been living here rent-free. I pay you $400 a month." And I considered the car payment for back rent owed. I couldn't even speak. The sheer audacity of it was breathtaking. "You had no right," I finally managed. "I had every right. And if you don't like it, you know where the door is." That night, I called the police. The officer who came out was sympathetic but explained that since I was living on her property and there'd been a dispute about payments, it was a civil matter. I'd have to take her to court, which would cost money I didn't have and take months I couldn't wait. I called a lawyer anyway. Consultation fee, $200 I couldn't spare. His advice? "You might win eventually, but it'll cost you more than the car's worth, and good luck collecting even if you do win." I was stuck. For the next week, I borrowed my coworker's old pickup to get to work. Mom acted like nothing had happened. Katie started posting Instagram stories about her college fund and how excited she was for state. Then came ultimatum number 2. I've been thinking, Mom said over dinner. Katie's going to need spending money, textbooks, all those extras. Your savings account would really help her get established. Absolutely not. I'm not asking, sweetheart. I'm telling you. Katie needs that money, and you're going to give it to her, or you can find somewhere else to live. You already stole my car. Now you want my savings too? I didn't steal anything. I solved a family problem. And now I'm solving another one. Katie looked up from her phone. Maybe you could get a student loan or something? I mean, you're not even going to college, so. That did it. I'm not going to college because I've been working to support myself. Something you might want to try sometime. Don't talk to your sister like that, Mom snapped. She's going to be an artist. She's contributing to culture. And I'm contributing to the electric bill. Not anymore, you're not. You've got until Sunday to decide. Either you help Katie, or you leave. 3 days. She gave me 3 days to choose between my entire financial future and homelessness. I spent those 3 days frantically calling friends, looking for a place to crash. My buddy Jason said I could use his couch for a few weeks, which wasn't ideal but was better than nothing. Sunday came. I packed my stuff into Jason's pickup, everything I owned fit in the back, which was pretty depressing when I thought about it. Mom watched from the porch like she was supervising a yard sale. Last chance, she said as I loaded my computer. Last chance for what? To let you destroy my life for Katie's art degree? To be part of this family. That stung more than I expected. I've been part of this family my whole life. I just never realized membership cost everything I owned. I was about to leave when I remembered something. 6 months earlier, Mom had asked me to help her set up online banking. She's not great with technology, so I'd done the whole thing, created accounts, set up passwords, linked everything together. She'd written down all the passwords in a little notebook she kept in the kitchen drawer. Now, I want to be clear about something. I didn't do what happened next out of malice. I was hurt, angry, and honestly a little panicked about my future. But I also remembered something Mom had forgotten. See, when I'd set up her banking, I'd also helped her open a high-yield savings account. She'd been putting money in it for years, her retirement fund, she called it. The account she'd apparently forgotten existed. I didn't take anything that wasn't mine. But I did something else. I called the IRS tip line. Here's what my mom didn't know I knew. For the past 3 years, she'd been getting paid cash under the table for weekend shifts at a private care facility. Nothing huge, maybe $8,000 a year, but money she'd never reported on her taxes. I knew because I'd seen the owner, Mrs. Whitaker, paying her in cash after shifts, and Mom had mentioned more than once how nice it was to have a little extra that the government doesn't need to know about. I also knew she'd been claiming Katie as a dependent even though Katie had been working seasonal retail jobs on and off for 2 years, never consistently enough to be independent, but definitely earning unreported income that should have been declared. And there was the small matter of the $3,000 business expense deductions she'd been taking for her freelance nursing consultations, which I'd helped her set up the paperwork for, and as far as I could tell, consisted of giving advice to neighbors in her kitchen. The IRS takes tax fraud seriously. Especially when someone's about to receive a large financial aid package based on falsified income information. I didn't report her to be vindictive. I reported her because it was the truth, and I was tired of watching her break rules while demanding I sacrifice everything to follow hers. I heard nothing for 2 months. I was crashing at Jason's place, working extra hours to save up for my own apartment. Jason had been letting me borrow his old pickup to get around, which was a lifesaver for apartment hunting. I'd managed to find a decent used car for $3,000, so I wasn't completely stranded. Life wasn't great, but I was managing. Then Jason told me Katie had called him, looking for my number. She sounds upset, he said. Like, really upset. I almost didn't call back. But curiosity got the better of me. Oh my gosh, finally, Katie said when she picked up. We need to talk. About what? About Mom. About college. About everything. She sounded like she'd been crying. Can we meet somewhere? We met at a coffee shop downtown. Katie looked rough, like she hadn't slept in days. She ordered a latte and then just stared at it. The IRS showed up at the house, she said finally. My stomach clenched. When? Last week. They had a warrant and everything. They went through Mom's files, her computer, all her bank statements. Katie looked up at me. Did you know she had another savings account with $23,000 in it? Separate from her main checking? $23,000. While she was stealing my car and demanding my savings, she had $23,000 sitting in an account she'd apparently set up years ago and then forgotten about in all her financial chaos. She never mentioned it, I said carefully. They froze everything. All her accounts, pending an investigation. And they contacted the college. Katie's voice cracked. My financial aid is suspended pending the investigation. They think Mom lied about our income. Did she? Katie was quiet for a long moment. Yeah. She did. She's been getting paid cash for weekend work, and she never reported it. They found out everything. The coffee shop suddenly felt very quiet. There's more, Katie continued. Mrs. Whitaker put her on administrative leave pending the investigation, and she'll probably lose the weekend job permanently. And the care facility where Mom works full-time? They're reviewing her employment because of the fraud allegations. What does that mean for college? I can't go. Katie started crying again. My financial aid is suspended pending the investigation. Even if it gets reinstated, Mom can't afford her portion of the payments anymore. Her lawyer says she might owe thousands in back taxes and penalties. I should have felt vindicated. I should have felt like justice was served. Instead, I just felt tired. I'm sorry, Katie. Are you? She looked at me with red, puffy eyes. Because Mom thinks you reported her. What makes her think that? Because you're the only one who knew about the cash payments. She told me about asking you to set up her banking, and how you would have seen everything. I didn't confirm or deny it. What do you want me to say? I want you to say you'll help us fix this. How exactly would I do that? Talk to the IRS. Tell them it was a misunderstanding. Maybe if you vouched for her. I almost laughed. Katie, do you hear yourself? Mom stole my car and kicked me out for refusing to give up my life savings. Now you want me to commit perjury to help her avoid the consequences of tax fraud? She's our mom. She stopped being my mom when she chose your college fund over her son. Katie was quiet for a minute. She's really sorry, you know. About the car, about everything. She knows she messed up. Sorry enough to give me back the $16,000 she stole? The money's already gone to the college. But she wants to make it right. How? She'll pay you back. With interest. Once this all gets sorted out. With what money? You just said she lost her weekend job and might lose her main job too. Katie didn't have an answer for that. A week later, Mom called me directly. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Hi, sweetheart. What do you want, Mom? I want to apologize. What I did. Taking your car, forcing you out. It was wrong. I waited. I was so focused on Katie's future that I forgot about yours. That wasn't fair. No, it wasn't. I know you reported me to the IRS. Do you? You were the only one who knew about the weekend money. And honestly, I probably deserved it. I wasn't being honest about my income. This was not the conversation I'd expected. So what happens now? Now I face the consequences. My lawyer thinks I'll owe about $12,000 in back taxes and penalties. I'll probably lose the weekend job permanently. The main job is uncertain. That's rough. It is. But it's what I earned. She paused. What I really called about is Katie. What about her? She can't go to state for fall semester as planned. Her financial aid is suspended pending the investigation, and even if it gets sorted out by spring, I can't afford my part anymore. She's looking at community college now. I'm sorry to hear that. There's a community college program she could start with. Transfer later, maybe. But she'd need to live at home, and Mom's voice got small. I can't afford the house much longer. Not with the tax bill and possibly losing income. I could see where this was going. You want me to move back home? I want my son back. And yes, we need help with expenses. I know I don't deserve to ask, but you're asking anyway. I'm asking if you'd consider it. You'd pay less rent than wherever you're living now, Katie could commute to school, and we could be a family again. What about my car money? Long silence. I can't give that back right now. But I'll pay you back over time, with interest. I promise. Your promises don't mean much to me anymore, Mom. I know. But I'm hoping you'll give me a chance to rebuild that trust. I didn't answer right away. I told Mom I needed time to think, which was true. I also wanted to see how bad things really were. Over the next couple weeks, I did some digging. The house Mom was renting? The landlord had filed for foreclosure 3 months earlier. Mom was already 2 months behind on rent before the IRS situation. Katie's dreams of state university? Even if the financial aid got sorted out, there was no way Mom could afford her portion. Jason was getting tired of me on his couch, not that he said anything, but I could tell. I'd found a small apartment I could afford, but it was pretty grim. Tiny studio in a rough part of town, barely big enough for a bed and a mini fridge. Then Katie called again. Mom's moving in with Aunt Nancy, she said without preamble. In that tiny apartment? There's barely room for Nancy. That's what I said. But Mom says it's temporary, just until she gets back on her feet. What about you? That's why I'm calling. Mom said you might be willing to help. I almost hung up. Katie, not with money. With a place to stay. Just until I can get through the community college program and transfer somewhere I can afford. You want to move in with me? I know it's a lot to ask. But I looked up that apartment you're thinking about renting. It's in a really bad area. She wasn't wrong. There's a 2-bedroom place for only $200 more, she continued. If we split it, you'd actually pay less than the studio. And you'd pay for this how? I got a job at Target. It's not much, but I can cover my half of rent and groceries. I already talked to the community college about their art program. I can start in January. This was not the Katie I knew. The Katie I knew had never held a job longer than a few months, always finding excuses to quit when things got challenging. What changed? I asked. Everything. Her voice was quiet. Watching mom lose everything because she couldn't be honest about money. Watching you get kicked out for refusing to enable it. I realized I've been living in a fantasy world. What do you mean? I mean I've been expecting everyone else to pay for my dreams while I contributed nothing. That's not sustainable, and it's not fair. I was quiet for a minute. Mom really messed up, Katie continued. What she did to you was unforgivable. But she's still our mom, and she's going to end up homeless if something doesn't change. That's not my responsibility. No, it's not. But maybe we could take care of each other instead of expecting her to take care of us. Here's the thing about revenge, it's supposed to feel good, right? You're supposed to get this rush of satisfaction when the person who wronged you finally faces consequences. But sitting in that coffee shop, listening to Katie talk about mom potentially losing everything, I mostly just felt empty. Yeah, mom had faced consequences. The IRS was going to make her pay back taxes with penalties. She'd lost her weekend income and might lose her main job. She was about to lose her home. And Katie had lost her dream college, at least for now. Had justice been served? Probably. Did I feel good about it? Not really. I thought about what my dad would have said. He always told me that being right isn't the same as being wise, and being wise isn't the same as being kind. I'll think about the apartment, I told Katie. Really? Really? But there would be rules. Like what? Like you pay your share on time, every time. Like you keep the place clean. Like you don't bring drama home from work or school. I can do that. And like we don't enable mom's bad decisions anymore. She made her choices, she lives with the consequences. We're not bailing her out. Agreed. And Katie? This is your chance to prove you've actually changed. Don't waste it. 2 weeks later, Katie and I moved into a decent 2-bedroom apartment in a safe part of town. She kept her word about everything: rent, cleanliness, responsibility. She started community college in January and has been getting A's and B's. She's talking about transferring to state as a junior, which would save a ton of money. Mom moved in with Aunt Nancy and has been paying off her tax debt slowly. She kept her main job, barely, and has been working extra shifts to make ends meet. We have dinner together once a month, and she's been genuinely working to rebuild trust. It's not the same as it was, and it might never be, but it's something. The crazy part? Katie and I have become actual friends. Living together as equals instead of in some weird family hierarchy has been good for both of us. She's more responsible than I ever thought possible, and I'm less stressed without constantly worrying about family drama. Last week, Katie got her acceptance letter to state for the fall. She'll be going as a junior, which means she'll save 2 years of tuition. Between her savings from working, financial aid, and a small scholarship she earned for her portfolio, she can actually afford it. I couldn't have done this without you, she told me. Not just the apartment, but showing me that I had to take responsibility for my own life. You did the work, Katie. I just stopped enabling you to avoid it. Still, thank you. That night, I got a text from Mom, saw Katie's acceptance letter. I'm proud of both of you. And I'm sorry it took almost losing everything for me to realize what really mattered. I didn't respond right away. I'm still working on forgiving her, and that's okay. Some things take time. But here's what I learned from all this: sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. Sometimes it's just refusing to participate in someone else's dysfunction and building something better for yourself. Mom thought she could force me to sacrifice my future for Katie's dreams. Instead, Katie and I both ended up with better futures than we would have had under Mom's plan. Katie learned responsibility and earned her way to college. I learned to set boundaries and stopped being the family's perpetual safety net. And Mom? Mom learned that actions have consequences, even when you're a parent. Especially when you're a parent. The IRS investigation wrapped up last month. Mom owed $11,800 in back taxes and penalties, which she's paying off over 3 years. She'll be fine, eventually. But she'll never again assume that family means unconditional financial support flowing in one direction. Sometimes the best lesson you can teach someone is that their choices have consequences. Even when that someone is your mom. Especially when that someone is your mom. Update: a lot of people have been asking what happened to the car money. Mom started paying me back $200 a month 6 months ago. At that rate, I'll have it all back, with the interest she promised, in about 4 years. It's not ideal, but it's something, and she's actually been consistent about it. Also, Katie surprised me last month by insisting we split the payments from Mom 50-50. You lost your car for my college fund, she said. The least I can do is help pay you back. So yeah, maybe we're actually becoming a functional family. Just took a complete breakdown and rebuild to get there. Who would have thought?